I have been fighting these wings for 5 minutes. They're gonna look like shit, but I'm not starting over. So hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug says that's what I do. I drink and I know things. My daughter got a whole bunch of I drink and I know things, a Game of Thrones memorabilia, and like my husband got a shot glass and things like that for Christmas this past year. So this is from there. And our tea in there at this point is the Simple Truth, which is a Kroger brand, organic elderberry herbal tea. This has hibiscus, rosehip, elderberry, licorice, orange peel, and natural flavor. It doesn't say what the natural flavor is, and everything is organic. Not that that makes a difference to me, but it might make a difference to you. Anyway, let's give this a sip. It's a brand new tea. I've never tried it. I did double bag it just in case. I'd rather double bag and get nice flavor than not. So let's give her a sip and we'll get started. It smells interesting. Okay, I oversugared it already. Definitely oversugared it. There's something it's a sweet tea. It seems to have a little bit of citrus or tartness in there. The orange peel, that's what it is. It's got to be the orange peel. Anyway, we'll let that sit. It's not going to get too much stronger because this is one of those videos where we show you this look. And so we drink the tea now, but it's not going to be much longer before we go ahead and get to our ending. So anyway, today we are doing a dragon bite, which is when I tell you, I answer one of your questions about something that I've done or I've gone through, or an opinion or advice. Just remember that this girl is not a psychologist. And today's question actually came from someone on Instagram. Unfortunately, I don't remember who it was. And it was in response to an Instagram story. So I think when the story went away, so did her response. At least I couldn't find it so I could screenshot it. So to my mystery questioner, I am so very sorry that I did not get your name and write it down. That was just dumb on my part. Should have written it down. And I didn't write it down, and I don't have it anywhere, and I apologize for that deeply. I really do appreciate your question, and I hope some of my other dragynettes will go ahead and also put in some questions for me for the future. I have one more sitting off to the side, but I've been trying to think about it since I got it and how I would do it, because, I mean, the type of question it is, it's really kind of hard to answer while doing your makeup because you would have to show things to answer it. So if you have a question, put it down below. If you're part of the Facebook group for Domy Tries This, you can post a question there. I do have a thread set up over there. And yeah, you can also DM me on Instagram or anywhere else and go ahead and give me a question that I can answer. I'd really appreciate it. And I'd love to pick my things to answer, and hopefully that you can discover more about me. So for today, the question is, as I will mention again later, the question is, have you ever been to Vegas? And if so, what were some of your most wild experiences? So if you want to know the answer to that and this look, get an idea of how I did this look, let's just keep on watching. So our mystery Instagrammer's question was, have I ever been to Vegas? And if so, what were my wildest experiences? Well, I've never been to Vegas, unfortunately. So no wild experiences. But the question, mostly the part about the wild experiences, did bring to mind something that happened when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we went out. We would drive across the country a lot. I think it was almost every summer. It was at least 3 or 4 summers. And we got to see a lot of different places. I got to see like the Painted Desert. We got to see the sequoias, the big redwoods. We've gotten to go to We got to see the Grand Canyon. We didn't go inside it, but we got to see the Grand Canyon. And we would go every year because we would go across the country to go visit my grandparents in Northern California. And so there was a few things we didn't see, but there was a lot of places we did see. The Painted Desert, like I think I mentioned. So we saw a lot of stuff. It was very, very cool as a kid, although it did teach me that I don't like to camp. I need to have my comforts. And most of the time when we would travel across the country, we would camp. And that's pretty much where this story starts. We went in the summer, so we always went when things were hotter. And one year my parents decided, I don't know why. To this day, I don't understand it. Why? They decided to stop by Death Valley. Death Valley is one of the hottest places in the United States. And in the summer, the temperatures are outrageous. I mean, they're insanely outrageous. We'll just keep going with that. And we didn't get through the whole day, which I guess in a way is good because, like I said, the temperatures are insanely hot. But we ended up camping there. Don't ever camp in Death Valley in the summer. Even at night, the temperatures are they're very, very warm. And like I said, we went in. So we were coming from Ohio. Let me back up a little bit. We were coming from Ohio. So every year we went a different route. We went a different way. And they would pick different places for us to stop along the way to Northern California, which means sometimes we would go through the middle of the country. Sometimes we'd go, I don't recall us ever going through the northern part of the country. And then sometimes we went south. There's a lot of pretty stuff down south. So, and we were coming from Ohio. And we would go in the summer, so it was very hot. And then it would spend several weeks, and then we would do the same thing going home, usually taking yet another route. So we were on our way to California from Ohio. I think they actually planned it for us to reach Death Valley towards evening. Then we would camp, and then we would leave in the morning, and try to be out of there before it got too hot. Because, like I said, Death Valley is like the hottest place in the United States, particularly in the summer. I mean, seriously, it's hot. It's hot. Even at night, it's really hot. It's very, very hot. And honestly, I think this whole event cemented my hatred of camping. We arrive at Death Valley. We arrive at the spot where my parents decided to camp. There is nobody in the valley except us. I'm sure there were other people there. We just never saw anybody the entire time we were down there. Which, seriously, no surprise. Repeat, it's very, very hot there. And we made our camp, and of course we did all the I don't remember everything we did. I'm sure we had a fire or something in the middle of a thing, and had our dinner and did all of that. And then it's really hot out there. I'm miserable. My brother is miserable. My parents don't seem to be all that fazed by it. What can I say? And we start getting ready for bed. And the way our tent was set up, it was a single room tent. And there is, in the back, there was like a platform where some people, you could have it was supposed to be a bed, so it was a bed. That's where my parents slept. So my brother and I had the honor to, I guess my brother and I had had to sleep on the floor, and my folks are on the ground, and the tent did have its own covering to go on the ground, so it's not like we were directly on the ground. And my parents also put down a blanket, some blankets down there for us. I mean, not that you need them in Death Valley, but we basically used them as padding on the bottom of the bed, on the bottom of the tent. It's over 100 at night, actually. And so we're in the tent. My parents fall asleep. But for me, it was too damn hot to sleep. It was really insanely hot. And I could not, for the life of me, get to sleep. And I don't think my brother could get to sleep either. As I recall, he was still awake through all of this as well. And when things are hot enough, you start seeing things. And we started seeing things. And we started hearing things. That was the other thing that was freaky about it. We started seeing, well, the first thing I remember us seeing was like a really, really big spider. And I got to tell you guys something. I don't generally have a huge issue with spiders. But the other thing is, I don't have much of a memory because I have ADHD and anemia combined. My memory is Swiss cheese. So the fact that I still remember this particular incident should tell you something. But we saw a giant spider on our bed, on the ground. And my brother and I freaked out, and we woke our parents up, and we all hunted for the spider. Which was kind of a bad thing, because after that, when we really needed them to believe us, they didn't believe us. We never found this spider. It was probably a mirage. But so after that, we didn't feel like we could wake them up, because we couldn't find the spider that we thought we saw anywhere in our tent. I mean, anywhere in our tent. And I mean, it was a huge spider. I can kind of still see it in my head. It was huge. It was grayish brown. And honestly, it could have been a real spider, but probably not. It was just, it was the size of, say, about the size of one of these smaller, like, dessert plates you get in a package of dishes. It was that size. That's how big it was. It's huge. So, yeah, it was this huge spider, and we woke our folks up, and they couldn't find it, and they told us to go to sleep. But like I said, it was just too damn hot to sleep. This color is just not working out the way I hoped. So we were told to go back to sleep, but it is still too damn hot for us to sleep. We're kids. We did most of the traveling that I recall between the ages, I know the oldest was when I was about 12, because that's when my mother divorced my stepdad. And I think this was like one of the last trips we had as a family. Not positive about that. Pretty close to one of the last trips we had as a family, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not positive about that. So we try to go back to bed. Like I said, it's too hot. It really is too hot. And we can't sleep. And much later in the night, I don't know what we saw or heard first. Okay, so I think we saw the sides, like low on the bottom of the tent, moving first. Like I said, we can't sleep. It's too hot. And there is no wind. Let me tell you that. There is no wind in the middle of summer down there in the Death Valley. I'm going to have to put gold up there. That's disappointing. But so that's the first thing we noticed was our tent was moving. The sides of our tent was moving. And it didn't take long for us to realize something was sniffing at the tent. And we heard something padding around the tent. And of course, we start freaking out again. We really did. We're young kids. What do you expect? So of course we're freaking out. We're hearing noises. We're and this time we're even more freaked out because we're actually hearing something, and the tent is moving, and it sounds like whatever it is right there, and we're trying to wake our parents up. But this time, because of the spider, I'm pretty sure they were like, "You're imagining it. It's a hallucination. It's hot. Go back to sleep." Okay. Pretty much is our response. Okay, we'll go. If that's what you say, we'll go back, try to go back to sleep. And I guess all the noise and everything, anyway, to continue so it doesn't totally spoil it. So eventually we did get to sleep. The noise went away. We eventually did get to sleep. And, I don't think either one of us got much sleep because, like I said, we wanted to leave before it got too hot in the morning. So my parents wanted us up very, very early in the morning to go ahead and pack up and get ready to go. So there was no sleeping in on the road. There was no sleeping in on the road. And my parents didn't tell us right away after we woke up. But apparently, when they got up and they went outside to get started on breakfast and starting to clean up the tent, they found wolf tracks. And so the spider was definitely a hallucination. The other thing was not. And I think that honestly cemented my total dislike of going camping. Period. I do not like camping. I will never like camping ever again. But that is the story of us going to Death Valley and surviving, and the wild experience we had there. I don't recall anything else on any of our other trips being anywhere near as crazy or having anything even remotely like that. Like we never lost anything. I don't think we ever ran into anything. My other experiences have all been very positive, going out and traveling with my folks. When I was a kid, like I said, we did this, between the ages of 7 and 12. And, but that was like the only thing that I can remember that was kind of a wild experience. And it is indelibly marked upon my psyche, because honestly, if I remember it, it was pretty, it was pretty important in my life, so to speak. And in that case, it's just kind of scary to think that, it's a good thing that, I shouldn't say it's kind of scary. It is a good thing that the coyote, or whatever it was, wasn't hungry or something, wasn't hungry enough. I mean, I don't know how wild animals act, and at that time, I had no clue. We were just kids. We were scared. We were trying to get our parents to pay attention, and we had cried wolf one time because of the hallucinations. And I sometimes wonder if we hadn't seen the quote-unquote spider that wasn't real, if my parents would have listened. But I think it wouldn't have mattered because, like I said, creatures tend to be wild creatures in particular tend to not really want to interact too much with people. At least they didn't back then. We're talking 40 years ago, somewhere around there, 30 to 40 years ago. So we didn't have them encroaching upon our property, our properties, and where we live and all that stuff the way we do now. And yeah, it was just a very different experience. Not one I want to relive for obvious reasons. But and my parents weren't horrible people. I think they just assumed that after we had the spider thing, I think they just kind of assumed that the heat just was getting to us, which was a reasonable thing to think. But I don't know. Can you? Are mirages and illusions in the deserts, do they have sound? I remember with the spider, we didn't hear anything. We didn't hear it like plop, drop out of the ceiling or anything like that. It was just there. The tent was enclosed in such a way that it couldn't have come in from underneath, I don't think. I mean, I guess it could have. That would have been weird, though. I guess it could have come in through the door. I mean, if it was a real spider. It wasn't a real spider because we never found any evidence of it anywhere. But to my knowledge, however, that there was no holes really anywhere. Like I said, I guess it, the way the tent went, I suppose with where it came out and where their bed was, there might have been something in there the spider could have come through. But, I mean, there was just no evidence of that. There was, one minute it was there and the next minute it was gone. So I'm pretty sure it was a mirage. But we had no idea on the coyote or the wolf or whatever it was. Probably a coyote. I don't know what's in this. I don't know what's in Death Valley. I'm not sure I want to know what's in Death Valley. Not after that experience. But I think it, when we started yelling at our folks that there was something outside the tent, sniffing outside the tent, they probably ran off at that point. Just not wanting to hang out with us or anything like that. I honestly think that was our last trip as a family. But I don't think it was the coyote that did it. I think my parents split up soon after that, and the next trip across country was when my mother moved with me and my brother to California to stay with family. So, but that is like the craziest thing. I remember going to like the sequoias at one point. I think it was the sequoias, the national redwoods. Those really, really big trees. And I used to have a picture of me standing next to one of these trees that seriously, the trunk could have held 3 or 4 houses, and where a 1 or 2 story or 3 story house stops, it just keeps going. It was huge. And I've been very upset about hearing about some of the fires and stuff that's been going up there, because those trees were magnificent. They were gorgeous. But I have this picture, and imagine trying to take a picture of yourself at the bottom of the Empire State Building when you're like 10. And someone's standing far enough back to try to get enough of the Empire State Building. That's what that was like. That's what that picture was like. And I don't know where that picture is anymore, unfortunately. I think it's amongst the stuff that got lost in various moves after that, unfortunately. I remember standing over the rails looking down at the Grand Canyon. We never actually went into the canyon. Didn't do the donkey rides or anything like that. Even back then it was like, oh, that's kind of expensive and extra. We can just stand up here and look down. And we would stand up there. We stood up there and looked down. It was very, very cool. So I remember things like that, but nothing beats my coyote story for me. And like I said, I think that cemented my whole camping. Never again. Just never again. I just don't like it. And I'll be honest, I didn't like it before then either. I'm sure some people would say that I am extra because of that, or as a kid, but I just was never a camper, even as a kid. So, yeah, that is the wildest thing that I can remember having happen to me when this hair just wants to be there. It wants to be a different color and it wants to be in my face. Anyway, that's the wildest thing that I can remember ever happening to me going someplace or being someplace that wasn't home. And even if I was into camping, I don't think that I would ever, ever, ever go to Death Valley again. Ever. All right, so I'm going to go finish up this look and we'll be back at the end to finish up the video. So this is our final look. Take these off so you can see it. I did manage to somewhat repair, fix, improve, however you want to call it, the wings, as I mentioned. I was using a tip that I'm not accustomed to for the eyeliner, and it just didn't work out. So I went and took I did my standard setting spray and eyeshadow to cover it a bit, and I think it actually came out really nice that way. They're still a little more elongated than I wanted, but other than that, I'm actually pretty pleased with the look overall. Had some issues with stuff sticking on the middle of my eye again, but that's just my eyes. I actually really like it. I think it's a very pretty look. Anyway, that is it for the day. Like I said, if you have any questions for me, please go ahead and ask them down below or in the Facebook group or on my Instagram, which is also DOMYNOE. So you can go to Instagram and you can follow me there and go ahead and ask your questions there. And I will pick more questions in the future. I'm trying to do one a month, so hopefully I'll get some more questions soon. As for my little camping experience, yeah, I'm sure you all can understand why I don't ever want to camp again. At least not without, like being in a hotel. Don't want to meet any more coyotes between canvas or not. No, thank you. That was just not. I mean, gotta keep in mind we were young, so we were kids, and I think if we hadn't been so freaked out from the spider and the heat and everything else, it probably would have been cooler than it ended up being. But yeah, I don't like going camping anymore. I'm sure you're not surprised. Anyway, that is it for the day, and I hope you like what you've seen, and I hope you've enjoyed our story. And if you're not subscribed, I hope you will, lots of hoping going along around here, but if you're not subscribed, I hope that you will go ahead and hit the subscription bell and the notification bell so that you know when I upload. I currently upload 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday. However, we do have bonus videos every month. My son opens his My Geek Box. We occasionally manage to do indie brands, and we occasionally manage to do subscriber mail, which I adore. Don't have to send any, but I do adore it, and it does go up as a bonus video. We are not doing our gardening this year. It has just started to warm up out here, and we still are hitting some cold weather points, and it has been raining a lot. So my peppers would not survive. I might try tomatoes in a month or two. We'll see. Tomatoes grow fast, and they actually do well in the conditions that we've been in. They did really well last year. It was my peppers that just didn't make it. But those I'm hoping I can get back to next year. If you're interested in any of those, however, they do not go up on our regular upload days, so you will need to hit that notification bell to know when they're up. If you're part of my notification squad, you'll want to check both your bell and your subscription to make sure they're both still active. I haven't had any issues, so hopefully you're not having any issues either. If you choose not to subscribe, well, you'd be sad and disappointed. However, you are always welcome back here, and when you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. While this has not been sitting very long at all, maybe 5 minutes, 5 minutes should be the maximum time it needs to steep, so it should be at full flavor at this point. We're going to go ahead and give her a taste, and then we'll be on our way. Okay, so I guess it's the elderberry I'm tasting. I still think I oversweetened it. I was needy today. What am I going to say? I needed the sugar. However, I think I'm getting something really, it's fruity. It's really fruity. The tartness that I was talking about earlier has died down a little bit, but I do think I did put in too much sugar. That being said, it is a very nice tea, and I think I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna probably try it again. I'll try some more of the Simple Choice teas. I don't buy them much because they were listed as organic, and organic just doesn't make that big a deal to me. But you know, you can go after something that's organic for the flavor if you can't find that flavor in a different product of the same category. So anyway, yes, you can find this at Kroger. The Simple Choice brand is their organic brand that they have. They have organic Simple Choice everything now, so I'm sure you can find some of that at your local Kroger if you have a Kroger. If not, you can probably buy it online. Not positive about that. I haven't noticed tea shortages when I've been in the grocery store. We are still experiencing toilet paper shortages, however. Don't get it. Anyway, that is it for the day. We're going to move on out of here. I hope you have a good one. Bye.